So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Hello guys, what's happening? It's Theo here, and today I want to do another quick snapshot little episode on talking about what is when we say, oh, I've got dyslexia, or oh, I'm struggling with dyslexia. And you mean that the dyslexia is all known for being this disability, learning disability, this negative, this thing we need help on, you need support on. And one thing I want to, let's say, bring a thought to you, or sort of like, could be clarify something, but something like understanding that I've learned recently with dyslexia. And it's this thought that the learning disability of dyslexia isn't quite what people think it is. It's more of a result, a byproduct of your dyslexia meeting the real world causes this learning disability. Now, let me tell you what I mean when I say that. Is that when we have dyslexia, a different way of thinking, different way of operating, different way of processing, and then we come in contact with the real world with this like neurodiversity, and we come in contact with it, and then we try, and then we fail, and then we aren't told clearly enough that we're different, that we need to do something, do things differently in order to get a similar result, in order for us to learn. And so we end up not really blaming the system, but blaming ourselves. Or maybe we might end up fighting the system, and still, in a sense, blaming ourselves or blaming the system and making an enemy. And far too often we blame ourselves for it. And when we blame ourselves, we can kind of beat ourselves up. We can create a negative self-talk, create negative beliefs, and really go down this negative spiral that's really not consistent. And then there's like, so this is like this when it comes to like the science of momentum. And say, for example, you want to try something and you try and then you fail in class. And there's like this momentum cycle is why successful people get more successful and why people who struggle continue to like struggle. And this is to do with the mindset. Nothing to do with dyslexia. It's to do with kind of like how the mind works and operates. To do with momentum. Because I got told this, and I got told this years ago, and it relates to this dyslexia, the learning disability, so profoundly. Is that somebody told me to imagine 4 squares on the screen. You mean like 4 squares, and like in like a square shape. So one, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and in the first left-hand corner we have our potential. What's your potential? And some people believe their potential is limitless. Like for example, me, I believe I have potential is limitless. I think that's the truth. I kind of know it is, but let's say someone believes their potential is not good, is low. If the potential is low, then they'll take a certain amount of action. If they don't believe they can do a lot, don't believe they can pass, they won't take a lot of action. And then because they don't take a lot of action, they will get poor result. Because of the poor result, their belief about themselves changes. So there's 4 things. There's our potential, there's our action, there's our results, and then there's our belief. Because our results affects our belief about ourselves, and our belief affects our potential, what we believe our potential is. And that cycle goes like could either go down or up depending. Now let's use that in a scenario where a dyslexic person comes into school. Oh yeah, let's do this. And then goes out and tries in a lesson and then fails to spell the word. They get up in class and fail to spell it, and then the kids laugh at them or something like that. And then let's say they did believe they had high potential and they did take action just like everyone else in the class took action, but because they took the wrong action for them,
used the wrong strategy that wasn't effective for them, but it's effective for other people, they had a poor result. And because of the poor result, they had poor belief, that they created a belief about their potential, about what they can, about what they can't do. And that belief about them made the potential less, and therefore the second time they take less action, get a less result. And it's this negative cycle going down and down and down. And it's invisible, and it can be so trapping for us. And one thing learning is like we go down, 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 or the same words, it can be going up, like successful, like it can be both ways. And one thing I've learned to do with that, I remember having the cycle and then coming end of my dyslexia school, only believing I could do a job with the least minimal amount of reading and writing and somehow work out how to do it. Stuff like that. And even now, I had bills from this place I haven't opened up in like 4 months. It happened yesterday. And I opened this up. My friend helped me go through them. And my head was just like hurting. It's like, oh, not this again. I can't deal with this paperwork. I just want to know what it is. Where do I pay? How do I pay? And how much? That's it. Basic. I don't really, hurts my head to look at a piece of paper. And it kind of gets me frustrated. Anyway, we can have moments like this that can send us down. And one thing we have to do, or one thing that can break the cycle, is changing one thing, not our results, but our belief on our potential. Now, it's not like, oh, I believe it's impossible, I believe I can do this, but it's about creating a habit, creating a pattern interrupt, where you're changing that negative talk to actually something more positive. Because let's look back, and one thing that's really holding us down, and we can notice this in the words we use and how we think to ourselves, what we say to other people about our abilities. Like notice things that we say, like, oh, I can never do this, or I'll never be able to do that, or you can do it because you're smart. I'm not smart like you. I can't do that. And it's these words, it's these sayings that we use that limit us learning, limit us our potential. But you have to realize there's dumb people, like people who are born that are not very smart, who became very intelligent in what they need to know, and then worked hard on that. And the smart people who've actually lived a very, in a sense, dumb life because they didn't do anything with what they had. And so realize on the both ends, and actually realize your negative beliefs are only holding you back, because they're not accurate, they're not true, they're just limiting you in your life. And one thing we've got to work on is changing that story we have on ourselves. And one thing we can do, notice, this is a very short snapshot I'm giving you. One thing that we're saying to ourselves, oh, I can never learn that, or I'll never be able to do that. We just change the story. And I'll just change the story is I can do it as something I changed it I'll never be able to do this. It is with learning my English game, my GCSE in English. I was I'll never be able to learn it, to changing the story. I'll be never able to do it, which I had for decades, to I want to see what happens if I give it everything I got, to I don't know what I could do, to let's actually see my potential. And it just changed. I made that little shift, and I just said it to myself consistently over and over again to change that negative story, that negative pattern. And these are called incantations, and you can't just say it over and over again in no strong emotional state. You have to move your body very vividly and energetically in order to get that and do that. And you do it consistently over and again. Change that story, change that story, change that belief. You believe you have more higher potential, you take more action. And I'll take more action, not about doing what other people are doing. Now we can go into the action, the strategy. We talk a lot about that, but I'm going to find a more effective strategy that's more for dyslexics. Apply a more effective strategy, better results, better belief, and the cycle just keeps on going up and up and up. But you have to do that by breaking the belief. So guys, that's the negative side of dyslexia. Is this belief, it's the negative self-talk, it's these compulsive solutions and so many other things. So negative side of dyslexia. One of the biggest things is inside our head. The worst thing about dyslexia is what we believe about it and about ourselves. Not actually the dyslexia itself is what makes us believe. We have to change that story, guys. Hope we conquer our dyslexia. Hope we're doing good. I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.